guys, it's your boy Elisha here, and welcome back to Go. This, as you know, is the show where we discuss everything in the world of football from the past week. And by we, of course, I mean myself and you, the amazing, passionate, fervent, and fervid people of the world of football. Guys, we've been waiting for this moment for so long. So without further ado, let's get right to the business. Man, I don't know if you could tell, but I'm feeling amazing right now. And the only way to describe this is like with a montage of me in the background and like gunshots and explosions and a dramatic soundtrack. And it's just like football is really back. Well, kind of. The Bundesliga's back. It's slowly rolling out. But we're going to talk about what we have so far anyways. So yeah, after a lot of debating and speculations and the public being really impatient and people really itching to get back out there, because apparently everyone thinks that going out and protesting and doing all of that is being impatient is going to get the pandemic to stop. Like that's not what's going to stop it. If anything, the exact opposite, which is staying at home and letting the officials do what they got to do so we could get back out quickly and everything could get back to normal. But again, team owners, officials, everybody's been debating. There's been a lot of meetings, and in Germany they decided that it was safe for the league to come back, for the Bundesliga to be back, of course behind closed doors. So it's being played without the fans and with a lot of precautions. You know, it's kind of, and first and foremost, I'm just gonna lay it out there that I feel like the social distancing that they're doing with the players themselves that are playing is kind of weird, because like it's a contact sport. The players themselves on the pitch are in contact with each other. So I don't get why when they celebrate they have to do it with their elbows. When they're playing, they're touching each other and all of that, falling on the ground. Like it's there's no point to the bench and the players on the bench being separated, being 6 feet apart. Like they're gonna be in contact either way. It's either you're in the stadium or you're amongst them or you're not. At that point, social distancing doesn't really make any sense. But yeah, that's just something I think it's a little weird. But essentially, the Bundesliga is back. There's been some games this week, and there are going to be games throughout this upcoming week and the weekends. And basically, the Bundesliga is going to carry on as normal until further notice. But we're going to talk about it. You know what's coming next. The trusty laptop is back. And so we are starting out talking about Hertha versus Hoffenheim. That game ended in 3-0. And honestly, both teams had a lot of chances, but Hertha just ended up being the most resilient in the second half, and they closed out the game. That Brazilian boy Matheus Cunha is one to really look out. Like his goal was incredible. His run was like, you could see when you're looking at the replay, like the calmness on his face and the speed and what his body was doing, they just didn't match. Like he was like this, but his body was like this, and he was doing a lot. But yeah, that guy's gonna be dangerous, and you're gonna hear his name a lot more often in the future. Also, we have Wolfsburg versus Augsburg, and Renato Steffen's a beautiful header got things started for Wolfsburg. Second goal was called offside because the player was in front of the keeper, but he wasn't even offside. So I thought it was offside before he ducked, but because I'm guessing he was obstructing the view of the keeper, it was called off for that goal. But anyways, Wolfsburg ended up getting the last goal. 2-1, the game ended, and they walked away with their first 3 points of the post-pandemic football era. Also, Dusseldorf versus Paderborn ended in a 0-0 draw. But anyways, in Freiburg versus Leipzig, Freiburg ended up scoring the first goal of that game with a weird corner goal. It was just a lot of mix-up in that box. Goal went in. For Leipzig, Paulsen ended up scoring in the 78th minute and saving them and getting the point for his team. It's with that whole championship race and the race to the Bundesliga title, a lot of these top teams, man, even with the break, and I'm going to talk about some of the others in the Bayerns and the Dortmunds later, but coming back from a break that long, you cannot afford to be dropping points. Like, this is a very serious race where everybody in that top 5 is going after Bayern's head. So if you're in that category, this first weekend especially, you can't be losing games at all. Like, at all. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Mönchengladbach, for example, against Frankfurt, won that game 3-1. Frankfurt just scored their last goal. It's like a consolation goal in the second half in the 80th minute. But Mönchengladbach was basically the only really present team on that pitch. That they dominated Frankfurt throughout the whole 90 minutes. Even when their third goal, which was a penalty trap, went the right way. He touched the ball and he still could not save it. It was just Mönchengladbach's day, and that's the type of statement. 3-0 win, that is a statement that you need to make coming out of this whole situation to show that you're really going after that title and that it's not going to be an easy road for Bayern if they do end up winning it. Also in Köln versus Mainz, Köln were up 2-0 and Mainz ended up not giving up. Again, another team, a team who's not necessarily in the title race, but it's like even if you're 2-0 up, I still feel like coming out of this, it's the mentality is very important. I'm going to talk a lot today about just the mentality of it's been a long break. You guys are well rested. Players were supposed to be staying fit. Necessarily in that game, it didn't seem like everyone were staying fit during quarantine. So you saw a lot of early tired legs there. Maybe it's just the simple fact that, yes, they haven't played full football matches in a while. I'll give you that. But just overall, in terms of endurance, it should definitely be there. They've had plenty of time to put the work in, and it didn't fully show in all the teams. But on the complete opposite, this is what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm talking about. The teams that are taking this seriously, who really want to win, who've been making the absolute most of the quarantine, like Dortmund. Dortmund looked like they never stopped playing. They look like they've really been training hard. The chemistry is still there. It's, not at 100%, obviously, but it still looks like they're a solid team, and they were the better team. That's why they beat Schalke 4-0. Schalke, no fear, as it says in the name, and as Axel Witsel put it on Twitter, also trolling that team a little bit. I love it. I love all of it. All that the players talking trash after the games to the other team and tagging them and stuff like that. I love it. Keep doing that. It's all part of the competitive spirit, guys. It's part of the game. Like, y'all gotta do something. Come on, don't just win and just leave it at that, all right? Dap each other up, high five, all of that, show respect, but, you know what I'm saying? Throw your shots when you got them too. You gotta make him want it the next time y'all see each other. Make it really competitive. Speaking of that game, picking up things right where he left off, Erling Haaland scoring the first goal for Dortmund like nothing had changed. And I thought, and I said this in previous videos, that when is it gonna stop? Is this a lucky break? Is this one of those like the Marcus Rashford coming into the game and his debuts are amazing. That's like his thing, English national team debut, Manchester United Premier League, FA Cup debuts are like all great. He always scores, But then the rest is kind of like, it's up and down. But Haaland has just been consistent all throughout. Like, it's game after game after game. He doesn't just score, he performs. Like, you can see, there's not just a fluke. Like, it's not just a phase. His athleticism, his skill, like his off-the-ball movement, all of that, like look at his eyes when the ball's not even at his feet, like his attitude, you could tell he's the real deal. Hilarious off the field too. His interviews, his post-match interviews are, so dismissive, so nonchalant. Like to be fair, the journalists are just trying to do their job. I completely understand that. But some of these questions are like so self-explanatory, and they're like, bro, how did we win the game? What do you think was the key to He says hard work. And stops. And it's like, yeah, that's hard work. And when the journalists try to spin it off to something else, he's just like, no, I didn't say that. You said that. Like, he's straight up with it, like a toned down version of Zlatan. Not as arrogant, but you could only get so many players to be media trained and say everything that's politically correct. Like, just be yourself, be real, and take the fines when you have to. And of course, we gotta talk about the top of the table, the German Giants. Bayern Munich are back in full form, as always, beating Union Berlin 2-0. Lewandowski again picking up right where he left off, scoring also. He's at 26 goals right now in the Bundesliga this season. He's broken the record now for the non-German player with the most goals in the Bundesliga, having the season of his life right now, chasing after Gerd Muller's record of 40 goals in a Bundesliga season, and he's on track right now. He could actually do it. Muller also is chasing his own record of trying to get 20 assists for a season, which Kevin De Bruyne holds when he was at Wolfsburg. So the whole Bayern team right now is doing great. They're all trying to break records. The team itself is trying to break record by getting their 8th consecutive Bundesliga title. Dortmund is a close second right now. 54 points they have. Bayern has 58. So they're on their tail, okay? Everything's even. Everyone's played their games. There's more upcoming games. The season's going to finish out, if nothing else. If aliens don't come and stop football again or stop the world again, season's going to continue, and we should have, just as it's been the whole beginning of the season, Bundesliga's been the most competitive in the whole Europe. It's been the most competitive toe-to-toe. Bayern somehow managed to come right back onto the top, but I have a feeling with this little break that happened, the narrative is going to change, and it's not going to just be what it usually be in Bayern, just goes up top of everybody and close out the season strong. I think it's going to be a lot more entertaining than that, and I can't wait. But yeah, it's definitely great to have the Bundesliga back. Some football, everything is obviously not back in full force. The fans are not there. A lot of the other leagues are still staying away. The Premier League is taking the longest to get decided. Ligue 1 has already been ended. You know, PSG was awarded the title for that, so congratulations to them if that means anything. Lyon has been seemingly the most furious out of all the teams because of that, because they're trying, like, they're in the Champions League right now. They're doing well. The Champions League was stopped, right? If the Champions League season get canceled, then there's no Champions League for Lyon. Like, the season ended for the Ligue 1 and they're in 7th place, so no European Championship. So right now, they're trying to fight that off. I don't think there's much they could do, even if they take legal action. Like, bro, the decision has been held. It's gonna stay like that. You just gotta keep your chin up and hope and pray that they continue the Champions League season. Because I think it would have been such a good one, bro. What? Man City facing a 2-year ban, so they're putting all their chips in. They know they're not winning the Premier League, so they're putting everything into the Champions League to try to win that. You have Lyon beating. There's so much happening. Or Juventus. There's so much happening in the Champions League. I would have loved to see it finish, and I hope it does, to be honest. But not without mentioning, all in all, football is back. Everything's amazing. We're waiting for the other leagues. It's great to be watching games again. We're still in the middle of a pandemic. People are still getting sick. And respectfully, people are still losing their lives. So the most important is still the fact that the whole world is trying to contain this and trying to make sure that everything goes back to normal, so that, you know, the chaos can stop first. You know, football comes after that. People's safety is first. Don't forget it. And also, to close this out, the whole argument of pay cuts, which has been really interesting that we didn't speak before this whole madness, and it came because of the pandemic. And basically, a lot of teams have been asking players, and some players have done it voluntarily, of taking pay cuts and taking some percentage, whether it's 10, 15, 20% off of their usual salary. And people like Roy Keane have come out and said, hey, listen, this you have a contract. Teams do what they got to do to their advantage. Players should do the same. They shouldn't feel pressured by the media or the team, the owners, whoever, to take pay cuts. A lot of people are saying the teams have massively wealthy owners, and so they shouldn't be pressuring players to take pay cuts. They should just give them what they owe them. And we understand both sides. The owners are going to be the owners. The organization is going to be the organization. They're going to do what's better for the business. The players on that end too are individuals who sign contracts, who work hard and tirelessly to get to the point they are. They should do what they got to do to their own advantage, and they should hold their own. The ones who feel like, and again, nobody should feel pressured to take the pay cut or not take a pay cut. They should be able to just do what they want without feeling like, yo, I'm gonna be seen as this, or the team might sell me in the next transfer window, or they might try to end my contract because I didn't take a pay cut during quarantine. But yeah, other than that, not much else going on in football. As for all other sports or anything else right now in the world. Everything is kind of at a halt, waiting for the researchers and the scientists and the pharmaceutical companies and the governments, everyone in charge really, to do what they got to do to hopefully get us back on track as soon as possible. For the rest of the year, it's looking slow for everything. Concerts, live games, just anything that has to do with big crowds, it's clipped. It's not looking good. But anything to ensure that the majority or the masses, the people themselves are safe and that lives are being preserved as much as possible, we're going to do that, and we're going to hold off to the things that we enjoy for a little bit just to protect our fellow human beings, all right? It's going to be okay. Everything is going to go back to normal. We got to contain this a little bit more, a little bit longer. So be patient. Everything will be back to normal very, very soon. But yeah, pretty much that's been it for this week on Go. We are finally back. We're going to be back next week and the week after and the week after until further notice. Again, I got to keep saying that because we never know when something's going to pop off again and like Thanos is going to come down and do something. So stay tuned and look out for the next videos coming back next week. Guys, if you enjoyed this one, make sure, if you enjoy football being back, if you enjoy the Go Weekly Show being back, make sure you drop a like, make sure you share it with, of course, your mommy, your grandpappy, your daddy, your sister, your cousin, your nephew, your pet snake, your pet dog, your hamster, your tarantula, whoever you can, your neighbors, cousins, dogs, sisters, brother, whoever, share it with them. Also leave that in the comments section, question, thoughts, opinions, hellos, goodbyes, whatever you want. And make sure you check out the music and the social media in the description, and I will see you guys next time on Go. Peace.